I wanted to get, you worked in the Middle East, Riccardo, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, because you probably know a lot more about the politics over there than me. Because I look at politics around the world, a lot of it makes sense in the Anglosphere, but when I look at the Middle East, it is something else. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. So a lot of people this week have been talking about Donald Trump's triumphs. And, you laugh at it because you know exactly what this is. This is a graph, as you can all see, of all the previous, for the 5 previous presidents before Donald Trump. And it basically looks at the foreign wars that they all got them involved in the country of America. And then there's Donald Trump, and he got them involved in no new wars. Now, people were just asking, they were making the statement, now you see why they hated him, the military-industrial complex. Now, I did a post on this, and I'm going to read it out, not because I like hearing my own words, because I want you to strike it down if it's completely wrong. So basically, I wrote this week, the only time I've seen the American media universally compliment Trump was when he did those airstrikes on Syria in his first 2 years of office. After that, I think he worked out the intelligence agencies were feeding him bunk info to get him into a war with Syria in order to destabilize the Assad government there and install the Qatar-Turkey pipeline. There were no chemical attacks by the Assad government, and no investigation was conducted at the time. I thought the punishment was meant to follow after the crime was proved in a court of law and beyond a reasonable doubt. Why would we trust the info of the same intelligence agencies that provided bunk pretenses to enter the Iraq war following the 9/11 attacks? The fake pretenses being weapons of mass destruction, of course, that were never found. Jimmy Dore, a progressive we've shown in the show, he covered this very well before the airstrikes took place, but in a video in 2016, well before Trump took office, and I did a post on that. You guys can actually search that on my profile. And this is the Qatar-Turkey pipeline that I was talking about. So this whole conflict is a rival between sort of two rival pipelines, one starting from Iran, going through Syria, and the other one going through Qatar, going to Turkey. Am I wrong on this? Is there some truth to it? Where does the truth end?
No, there is some truth. There's a lot of truth to what you're saying. It never appears to be what it is shown to be. The truth is many layers down. And the reason most reasonable people don't dive down deep enough is they cannot conceive of the level of evil that is required to kill and maim tens of thousands of people to achieve a political objective. It never occurs to them. They tend to say there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Because there's a number beyond which you cannot go. The human soul just doesn't accept it. Should we kill 1 to save 100? Well, that sort of makes sense. Should we kill 1 billion to save 2 billion? Oh, hang on a minute. We got to look some other options here, and they don't do it. It's about control. This is the pipeline. There's the Russia pipeline as well across the north. It is intentionally designed to constrain, to provide single points of failure to the people and hold them hostage, and that's why any reasonable analysis would find a number of solutions to this problem, but they don't need to, they don't want to. What they want to do is they want to keep control. All of this supply of oil, for example, is critical. If you control the supply of oil, you control the Western world, because we need oil to survive, whether you like it or not. No alternative is yet being found to supply what fossil fuels supply. None. Doesn't exist, won't happen. Not for a long time, unless we go to Tesla and free energy, and that's a separate issue entirely. But right now, it's necessary. Yeah. You look at the Straits of Hormuz between the UAE and Iran. 20% of the world's seaborne oil sails through there. Now, if you shut that, and Iran's regularly threatening to close it, and so they get concessions. You shut that, and then a lot of people are going to suffer. And if Australians think we're safe from that, no, because we are. Every time you fill your tank, odds are excellent that you are using Iranian oil, which shouldn't be there, because it's bought by the Chinese, it's processed in Singapore and sailed to Australia. Now, every Australian politician knows that, but they won't tell you.
Frustrating.
So you're actually funding terror in Iran, but they won't tell you. Okay, so back to this specific issue. Yeah. It is all about control. There are solutions to the problem, and they would rather kill tens of thousands of Syrians rather than find another one, because there is a way around this. There is always another way around it, but they don't want to. Evidence, no problem. We were told 2 intractable problems which would never be solved was North Korea and peace in the Middle East. Well, guess what? Good old Don managed to get North Korea away from their lunatic agenda, because it was never North Korea, because as I said, there's always there's a marionette factor here.
Yeah.
And he managed to get the UAE and Israel to sign a peace. Not a peace accord, an accord.
Yeah, to normalize
relations.
So you didn't have. You could travel there. You could
Absolutely.
trade there. It was awesome.
Because when I was in the Middle East, if I had an Israeli stamp in my passport, I couldn't get into most of the countries because they cut us out. And I understood that. But once again, the point I'm making here is very clear. It's evidence. Is there a way around these allegedly intractable problems? Of course there is. And we have two massive examples with North Korea and Israel, and it can be done if you're not working for the deep state, if you're not a criminal, and you're not part of the the cabal,
the club,
the club. As
get George Carlin.
If you haven't heard George Carlin videos, do yourself a massive favour. Just Google George Carlin.
My God.
Listen to any one of them.
Yeah.
If you don't like swear words, please don't do it.
Yeah.
All right. Don't let the kids listen to it. It's very offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, but the truth hurts.
Oh my gosh! You know,
It's a big club, and you're not in it.
You're not. Maybe we'll play some clips next week. A clip or two next week.
If you can get him without swearing.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, the point here is, yes, there are solutions to this, but these people are sociopaths. I know I keep banging on about it, but you've really got to understand you can't defeat an enemy until you understand the enemy. They are sociopaths. They are capable of doing things that we can't.
Yeah.
Normal people cannot. And there are countless examples in military history where a general has had to make a decision that led to the death of thousands of his own men. And there's one Australian general, and he's in tent weeping, just weeping, and then he gripped himself up and went back to work. There are others that feel no problems, no compunction. It's just, okay, 10,000 died. Okay, no problem, moving right along.
Yeah.
They're sociopaths, and it's hard to discern between the two until you see the reaction.
Yeah. I bring this up because it's obviously a very difficult area to understand because of the language barrier, and the politics is just the culture. Each area has a culture, and there's so many different countries there. And then on top of that, there's another dimension of religion. I wanted to point this topic out because it turns out that it sounds like you somewhat agree with the progressives on this, the true progressives, not the Kamala Harris's.
In what way do I agree?
In what way? So
you're worrying me.
No. In terms of, so for example, a lot of people in the progressive side, they've been commending Trump's peace deals over there, the 4 peace deals that he's been doing to normalise. So that's a no-brainer.
Of course it is.
Whereas I think Biden's going to try and undo that. Who's a part of the establishment, and on top of that, he's not a. This isn't sort of helping the. This is helping the military-industrial complex, which is something Jimmy Dore taught. The phrase he taught me, basically, which is just the military machine that makes money off more wars and killing the American.
Every
kids.
time they fire a cruise missile, there's several millions and millions of dollars that has to be replaced. And when Obama launched, I think, the largest number of missiles, the defense manufacturers just rubbed their hands with glee.
Exactly.
And it's not like they just hoped they sent it.
No.
I'll bet my bottom dollar that Obama was told, do this.
Yep.
And he wasn't so innocent. Do this because these guys need to produce more bombs.
Yeah.
Bang. Let's go kill people.
It's very frustrating. And Jimmy Dore always says, Obama dropped, they used to call him Obama, like bomb. Like he dropped so many bombs on Syria, he ran out of bombs. And
that's because then they had to restock the inventory. Meanwhile, he's flying bombs over, but the American military, the aircraft, the tanks, the rest of it, they were cannibalizing aircraft to keep whatever aircraft they had in the air. They had aircraft that should have been, airframes that should have been retired years ago. And they were actually they were cannibalizing part of the squadron in order to keep a few planes up.
Yeah.
And so this military-industrial complex, it depends on who's got it. There are so many inputs to this, folks. You really, if you try to do a stakeholder analysis of the inputs to the White House or any national leader, you couldn't do it. The picture becomes like a spider web and you just can't follow the chain. It's just so difficult. What you've got to understand about the military-industrial complex is these are the people that fund the parties, that fund the politicians, and then they expect payback in the sense that their weapon systems will be used. There's a book written in 1935 by Major General Smedley Butler, and it's entitled War is a Racket. And even back then he knew that the wars were being fought in order to expend munitions and weapon systems in order to keep the military-industrial complex going. Even President Eisenhower, former Commander-in-Chief of SHAEF, Supreme Headquarters of the Allied Expeditionary Force that invaded Europe, as he was leaving as president, he warned the American people of the power of the unelected And in that, he embraced the military-industrial complex. So it's very real. And it's interesting you said, I agree with the progressives. No, I just agree with what's right and wrong. As I keep saying, this is not about left and right.
No.
It's about right and wrong.
Yeah.
And it's funny when people accuse A1 of being a right-wing party. Please show me one right-wing policy.
It's an anti-establishment party.
That's exactly
keep
what
telling
it is.
people it's not, and it ties in with right and wrong, because right now the establishment has mandated, it's saying that basically anti-establishment is wrong. The non-narrative is wrong. That's what they're saying. They want
and
you
they
all
will
to
shut
think
you
online.
down.
Yeah, big tech.
Big tech will shut you down, folks.
And we'll come to that.
Anyway.
Next topic is actually, I just want to very briefly just mention this, FYI.